So the title of my talk is Holding Space Together, the Complex Support of Retreats. So one of, I would say, a unique quality of reflective meditation is our intention and intentional effort to create supportive environments. And being surrounded by others that are committed to practicing reflective meditation in our case, it actually gives you more motivation, a sense of a shared intention with practice, and it does feel comforting to have others around you, Sangha around you, while you're meditating together. But I also want to acknowledge that support is not a guarantee. It's not something we can guarantee you will have, feel all the time. What feels nurturing to one person might feel uncomfortable or challenging to another. When people come to a retreat, they're coming from their own designed care, support that they have at home. And likely there'll be a position of adjustment, a transition when you come into a retreat setting. Even if it's beautiful, it has good beds and good food. The retreat center, the teachers, the practice can't succeed in meeting everyone's needs all the time. And so I was considering this and thinking, well, when we do online retreats, we include this daily online meditation in the retreat. So that structure that's already been built is already part of the retreat process. It's another support for online retreats. And we don't have that when we go away on retreats. So going to an in-person retreat, meeting Dharma friends, people that we've come to know over virtual reality online, it can be enlivening and disorienting at times. This daily online Sangha has only met one other time in a retreat space as the daily online. And there's something powerful about watching a virtual world become embodied. There's something that's so familiar about each other that then becomes alive in a different way. So that can be very exciting, and it can also mean that our differences come into view, that we start to see more of our habits or sensitivities, or ways that of being with each other that on screen we don't see or don't have to deal with. But in person, suddenly we're in this new world. So again, I was thinking it's interesting that online retreats provide a kind of boundary or a distance that allows a different kind of support to emerge. And we've noticed that with the daily online, not a lot of people reach out for one-on-one sessions or needing more time individually. So we've been thinking about that over the years, that the way our practice is formed online, the support is by seeing each other daily. It comes from hearing each other and being in contact through these screens. So sometimes it can feel overwhelming to be in person after you've only been meeting virtually. You might know this just one-on-one if any of you are in local areas and get to meet up with each other. But on a retreat, I feel myself using the word care in a parental way, like be careful. So I revised it in my mind to care, C-A-R-E dash full, F-U-L-L. Be careful. Yes, because we're going to have to discern where to offer care to ourselves, care to others, and this discernment, it really becomes essential when we have or know our tendencies to be disillusioned or disappointed, or to be overexcited and idealize a situation. So it can be very stimulating to meet in person, and then hard to regulate when we're excited. But this doesn't mean don't get excited when you meet people. This is a thing that you get with the Dharma teaching. It doesn't mean don't do that. It just means an in-person retreat can provide a kind of learning around excitement, around meeting each other. This practice is actually very helpful with discernment. And when expectations go unmet, disillusionment can follow. So if you're not getting what you want or what you hoped, it's not uncommon to feel disillusioned. This is another kind of learning. And often we bounce back and forth between being excited and disillusioned and somewhere in the middle. So on retreat, we also know that another reality of it is that emotional discomfort can arise. And this is not reserved for retreats. This can happen here too. But you may know it from online retreats, from any type of long-term practice. Silence and stillness can stir the depths of our waters. Old wounds or long suppressed thoughts could surface. I mean, we really don't know what's going to happen when we meditate for longer periods of time. And really reflective meditation, it allows these experiences to come up, to be with them, invites them even. But we're also looking for a wise discernment around these experiences. When do I sit with this alone? When do I reach out with another? When do I take a walk in nature? When do I gaze at the sky and keep my eyes open during meditation? It's not linear, and we're learning all of this through trial and error. And we really have come to know a lot about holding space for this inner complexity through our practice, that we have some reassurance we've done this before. So our retreats aren't intensive by conventional standards. They may not offer a kind of deep concentration or structured silence found in more traditional settings. Over the years, our retreats have evolved and really have responded to what our community, what our sanghas asked from us. We've sought really a middle way between a classical retreat structure and a quiet meditation friends fest. I came up with that this morning. So we're looking really for a middle way between those. So as I'm preparing to go on retreat, Los Angeles is protesting against immigration raids and the deployment of the National Guard. And we stayed close to the news yesterday. It's close to us. We feel like we're on alert over here. And this really adds to a pre-retreat anxiety of leaving home. The external world feels, and I'm pointing here to feeling, it feels on alert, much more complex with the polycrises that we're facing. And an old adage was coming to my mind as I wrote this, feelings are not facts. Feelings are not facts. But in Dharma practice, let me think what I was going to say. In Dharma practice, this is another area of discernment in our feelings. And there's ways we categorize them in Dharma practice, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, or emotions that we're prone to. But the interesting thing around feelings is they don't typically categorize neatly when you're feeling them. And they actually may not be facts, but they feel really real when you're feeling them. And they're giving you clues, and they're talking loudly. And they're much more mixed and varied than we assume. So we take them a little more seriously than just dismissing them as not facts. So I'm going to end here. Creating supportive environments for retreat is, in reflective meditation, it's less about eliminating difficulty. It's more about cultivating the conditions for kindness, for care, for curiosity, for resilience. And it's not always seamless, but it is always alive and very real. I will